Let's see, live.
I'll let you down.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank our sponsors, the Health Channel, and now the appointments by phone. So you can get all the appointments by phone, telemedicine, and thank you to the Against Genocide bracelet. So thank you everyone for listening. And today I want to welcome two amazing ladies. Just to go back a little bit on why I wanted to do this, it's because I have a total fascination with the FBI, the police. I am hooked on all the TV shows that have to do, so I have to say that in my past life, I literally was with the FBI or a policeman, but okay. So welcome. Please, can you introduce each of you? Can you self-introduce yourselves, please?
Okay, good morning. My name is Alexis Carpentery. I am a special agent with the FBI, currently assigned to the Miami division. I've been with the FBI for 28 years, and I was an attorney in my life before the FBI. So I have my undergraduate degree from the University of Maryland. I have my law degree from Georgetown Law, and I have a master's in forensic psychology from Nova Southeastern. During my time with the FBI, I have spent about 20 years working human trafficking, sex trafficking of children, and child predators, all the violent crimes against children. But for the past 4 years, I have been the recruiter for the office. So I am out there looking for the next generation of FBI agents, intelligence analysts, and incredible professional staff to help this bureau continue the mission.
So we're going to talk a little bit after about that. Thank you.
No worries. Good morning. I'm Catrice Stubbs. I am a supervisory special agent here in the Miami division. I've been here about 6 years. Prior to that, I was with the Washington field office doing drug and gang investigations as an agent. I also worked when I initially arrived to Miami as a counterintelligence agent. And now I am the chief division counsel where I advise the agents on their investigation. So like Alexis, I went to law school, University of Miami here in Miami as an undergraduate and for law school. I also went to Florida A&M, go Rattlers, for my master's. Since becoming an agent, prior to becoming an agent, I worked as an attorney and also a teacher up in Tallahassee, Florida.
Is it a requirement to have a law degree, or is it just a coincidence that you both are past lawyers?
It is not a requirement. We just coincidentally both are lawyers, but the beauty of the Bureau, especially for the agent ranks, we have individuals from all manner of professions, and you literally name it. We probably have an agent that's doing the job now. So, but no, you do not need to be an attorney.
So from a woman perspective, we all hear that the FBI is just a man's world. So what has been your experience from the women's side?
Well, as a female agent, I can say that we do have the perspective. I've got my 28 years in, I've been in different field offices, on different squads, and worked with lots of different people at different times. In my time, I have experienced an incredible team effort and felt a lot of support from my fellow agents. There doesn't seem to be the perception that's out there. So although this is a man's field, you don't have to be a man to excel in it. You need to have the determination, the motivation, and the skill set to succeed. And I have found that as long as you possess that and you try hard, everyone supports you. And I have felt a lot of support from my fellow agents, both male and female.
So when you talk about skills, what kind of skills do you require or do you need? Because I know there's a lot of people that would say, okay, my dream would be to go into the FBI, but I don't know if I have the skills or the right stamina to go and approach that.
Well, that's the beauty of the job. Just as Catrice mentioned, we take all backgrounds. We want to be the best at everything we do. We want to help our community and serve them in the best way possible. And you can't do that if everybody has the same experience and the same perspective. So we do look for varied degrees and varied skill sets. Now, there are some commonalities, right? We want to have good communicators. We need to be able to effectively communicate in writing. We want to be able to do interviews and be able to build rapport with people. In order to get people to talk to us and provide information, we need to be open to that information, and we need to have an atmosphere that is a welcoming atmosphere. So there are some commonality, critical needs, and a lot of them happen to have good skill set from the lawyers. And that's why you see a lot of attorneys, accountants, engineers, teachers, they all make very good agents because that skill set is a lot of the same things they're doing in their current professions.
So on the physical part, you don't need to be like the Superman.
No, ma'am.
You do have to work at it.
You have to work, yeah.
Okay, because the training.
So there is a physical component during the application process that you have to pass through to even get in. So you do have a certain level of physical fitness. And then during the academy, which is approximately 20 weeks in our FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, they'll continue to work on the physical fitness aspect as well, in addition to everything else you're doing. So really having a good mindset and having that baseline to be athletic and into physical fitness. Not a bodybuilder, as you can tell, I'm as strong as I look. You just have to have that fitness component.
Okay, you want to add something?
Oh, no, I just totally agree. I think the beauty of the Bureau, they encourage physical fitness. As agents, we get 3 hours a week to work out. So that's one of the benefits and one of the ways in which they support us, maintaining our physical fitness. And as she stated, you do, no, you don't have to be Superman, but you do have to have a certain amount of physical fitness. So sit-ups, push-ups, the 300-meter sprint and the mile-and-a-half run, you do have to do within a certain amount of time or a certain amount of those, quantity of those, in order to pass the physical fitness test, and that's required to become an agent.
Okay, so changing topic completely. I understand that both of you are moms.
Yes.
Yes.
You have 3 kids, you have 2 kids. How do you balance that part? Because definitely the FBI is not a 9-to-5 job.
So the work-life balance has always been a struggle in the sense that most of us have a very strong desire to do a good job at work, and it's very hard to walk away. So it's not a punching the clock and you just head out and leave everything behind.
Correct.
So there is a sense of being torn between it, but you have to work at that. You have to make sure that you take time for your family, for yourself, for your mental health. That's my exercise. So you have to make sure you incorporate all this. We do work long days. We do work weekends and evenings sometimes. So having a good support system with either your coworkers, your significant other, family members, it's huge. Knowing that you can work different schedules to make things work. But I found the Bureau is very flexible in the sense that they want us to succeed. They want us to do a good job on the cases and still be mentally sound and safe and happy. So they're willing to work with you to get that work-life balance. But there are times where you do sacrifice some beauty sleep. I drink a lot of coffee, maybe more than I should to keep that going. But you make it all work. But as I've said to other people, I think anytime you're in a high profile job or a high demand job, that you have to prioritize and make time for everything. So being an FBI agent is important to us. It's a part of who we are, but so is motherhood and being there for the kids as well. So you just have to make sure you make room for that.
And I couldn't agree more. I do have 2 bonus children, I call them. And so I met them when they were in middle school. So that was a little challenging. But since they've grown into very productive adults, and throughout that time, they were pretty supportive. So that was very helpful in terms of balancing, because as you can imagine, being the lawyer for the division, you're constantly getting calls from agents throughout the night, et cetera. But everybody was pretty understanding, like she said, having that support system, whether it's even other colleagues to step in as needed to let you spend that time to address whatever matter it is, whether it's Parkland shooting that you have to drop everything, or some other manner of mass event that we as a unit have to come together and address. So
You two have become a role model for a lot of the kids, the women out there. So I have a question. How do you talk to your kids and explain to them that you guys do not have a nine? It's not only about a 9 to 5, because I understand what you're saying, that a very high level job, like a high executive, can work really long hours. But you guys are literally putting yourself in danger every single day. So how do you give the peace and security to your kids every time that you leave the house?
You go.
I think for me, it was a focus on the training. So everybody knows we spent 5 months in Quantico, Virginia, in order to be prepared to deal with anything that comes our way. And so I stressed that, particularly to my mother, who was pretty floored when I decided to choose this career.
I imagine.
She was like, "You're gonna go from being a lawyer?" I was like, "Well, I can always go back to being a lawyer," which I eventually did. But it was really challenging to get them to understand. So I just focused on the training. I focused on the fact that we don't go into a home alone. It's always a group of us who are all trained to work together, et cetera. So it was a more focus on that and letting them know that the Bureau is not just putting us out there. They're really making sure that we're ready to tackle whatever comes our way.
That's a very interesting point, the training. That something can happen to you when you walk out the door, you can get run by a car, but you're trained in certain situations. So no, thank you for giving me that peace of mind there. Can we talk about like positive experiences that you've had, like one of those wow moments?
The truth is, when I look back over my years, I've had a lot of wow moments. And the fact that I get to have wow moments is probably the biggest excitement of this job. As you look through your career and you realize what you've been able to experience and opportunities that I've been able to take part in, I have moments of wow. So I've had wow moments where I've been in front of Congress to receive an award, or the meeting with the Attorney General on a case involving the death penalty, where as an agent, that's very rare, and as an attorney, that's very rare. So I've been able to do some of that. I've been deployed overseas on different cases to experience international cases and work on them. I've also been an undercover. I'm a hostage negotiator. All of those are wow moments. The fact that I get to wake up and try something different almost every day and say things to myself like, this is something in the movies, or I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. This is the best day ever. But I have a lot of them, and it's great. And the fact that I get to go home to my kids, and they don't know any different. So they're not even that much of wowed, because they're just used to seeing. And
There's like something else, yeah. Another great day.
yeah, I'm just mom. I'm just
Yeah,
mom.
you're just mom. Is there any case that has lingered over the years that you couldn't solve? And I know that you cannot talk about specific cases, but do you have any case that you wish you had something different, that you wish, or that it's not solved?
No.
Not really. No, I mean, I think that the cases resolve in the way they're supposed to, right? We are fact finders, so we don't get to determine what the evidence is or how it's going to play out. Our job is to uncover the truth, whatever that may be. So possibly we started an investigation thinking somebody was the subject and realizing by the end that wasn't the subject and they were not involved. And that might be the biggest regret, that we look back and go, wow, I wish I would have seen that from the beginning and I could have not spun my wheels. But you don't know that until you find the evidence and the case plays out.
I get it. There has been, Florida has increased a lot. It has, a lot of the numbers have really risen regarding sex trafficking. And I understand that every major event trickles it. When I was in the city of Aventura as an elected official, I know that we did everything possible for the police during Super Bowl, when one of the teams was staying actually in the city. But I also remember I felt in a sense that I was doing the right thing, that everything was going to be safe. But after the Super Bowl, we got a report that 34 out of the missing children or women, they were able to rescue 18. And for the longest time, I couldn't fathom of the missing kids that they were not able to rescue. So what happens there?
So I do have a lot of experience with human trafficking and sex trafficking of children. And so I have worked those violations and worked those special events. Special events are a big economy boost for the area, but it brings in a lot of tourism, a lot of business, and a lot of money. It also brings in the unseedy element, a lot of trafficking, because there's a demand for that. So unfortunately, that does increase the human trafficking and especially with minors. So we do have an increased presence with law enforcement during those events in order to try to proactively keep those numbers down and recover any missing and exploited children. So we do have these lists. We try very hard to do the recoveries as quickly as we can, but sometimes the event is over and they've already gone, right? So they came for the event and they've left as soon as it's over, and we weren't able to recover that minor. But the investigation doesn't stop. That is the beauty of the FBI. We are located in every state in the United States, and we're even international. So when the case stops in Miami, it doesn't go away or end. We're able to continue our investigation to the next place that we're able to put that defendant or subject or missing child, and we can share that information with our colleagues in that unit, and they can continue the investigation. So it's a team effort. So you aren't going to get away from it. We're just going to have to get you the next day in the next town, but we're still coming.
And from a drug perspective, like I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I'm from Colombia. I lived through the bombing. I lived through the whole Pablo Escobar, the whole thing. And when I was growing up, or my kids were growing up, we didn't see, or we weren't exposed to drugs. I was exposed to drugs when I came here. So, and I see that it keeps on going. Like, I know it's a huge business, but as long as you don't do something here, they're going to keep on exporting it.
Yes, certainly. Drug trafficking, as you can imagine, is a battle that we continue to fight. Even in my days as a street agent doing drug investigations, there were constantly even neighborhood gangs sprouting up because people want a sense of belonging / they have this common connection of drug dealing, right? And so we're constantly combating that. One of the things that we sought to do was to get into the schools early on, to show kids other routes and hopefully steer them away from that activity. But in addition to that, in terms of the FBI's efforts in drug trafficking, we constantly seek after these individuals as we do with human trafficking. We are a network. Sometimes my cases led into Maryland or even New York. I had a kingpin in New York that we were investigating. So we're constantly working with other offices in order to capture those individuals. And so it's a team effort, and we just do the best we can every single day. And like she said, we may not get you today, but we're coming. And oftentimes, I can't tell you how many people are arrested that, oh, well, they've changed their life now, and now they're doing this. Yeah, but we have them 2 years ago on tape doing something totally different. So it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but we're coming.
Is there any provisions for education against like sex trafficking, drugs, and anything that the FBI is doing, like on a preventive form?
Well, yeah. In addition to all of the investigations that we do have an entire community outreach portion. Because if we can prevent a child from being exploited or
Correct.
prevent somebody from getting involved in drugs, then we've done as good a job as recovering a child from there. So we do spend a significant amount of our time going into schools, organizations, groups, public awareness, public community forums where we can present internet safety, child protection, drug awareness. So we do spend a good part of our time educating the public and doing some community outreach. Again, we want the community to understand that we're here to serve and protect them. We want to build those bridges and make sure that we can help them in any way, whether it's helping them once they've gotten into trouble or preventing them from getting into trouble. We still want to make sure we're there.
Tell me a little bit about the cryptocurrency, because it's not managed or it's not accepted at a federal level. It's not like a bank account. So it's used for a lot of illegal things. So how do you, it's not traceable. I don't know.
Well, like all new technology, it can be used in a proper way and it can be abused. And so cryptocurrency is no different, right? It's a new market. There's a lot of different ways that people can abuse it. And so we are spending a significant amount of our resources investigating that and trying to prevent fraud and different types of crimes involving the cryptocurrency. But it also needs that special skill set, right? We need agents and staff that understand how it works, understand the protection levels and intrusion levels, and be able to effectively investigate and protect those things. So we are seeing a surgence in that, and we are trying to counterbalance that by bringing in people with those skill sets into our ranks, as well as increasing our investigative efforts.
So if somebody,
Oh, I was just going to add, and then being as the Chief Division Counsel, one of the units I house is the forfeiture unit. And so one of the things that we're doing actually while we're speaking, there's a group that are meeting about tracing illicit proceeds. And basically, whether it's cryptocurrency, et cetera, we're working hand in hand with our U.S. Attorney's Office to get the knowledge and the skill sets that our agents will need to find those assets, trace those assets, and make sure, tying them to the crime so we can charge those money laundering offenses, for instance. So it's a constant pursuit of ours where we're dedicating the resources necessary to pursue every avenue to, find out ways through those wallets to make sure that when it's come time, we can seize those as well. And hopefully that'll be a deterrent from people engaging in illegal activities, because we have seen a shift, you would say, from drug trafficking to fraud and other manner of
of getting money out.
Exactly, because everybody wants the easy route, right? And so, but even that is something that we investigate and something that we take seriously. And so we are as an organization putting together, again, the resources, whether it's investing in recruiting the best and the brightest to tackle those manner of crime, or, you know, just the everyday forfeiture paralegal who's looking for those assets and making sure when it comes time, you're not hiding from us.
So if you're a normal person and you have some of those skills, how long will it take from the application, the training, until you really get to be part of the FBI?
That's a great question. So we do all of our hiring on our own website, which is fbijobs.gov. On fbijobs.gov, we articulate all the different types of jobs that you can be in the FBI: special agent, intelligence analyst, forensic accountant, hundreds of different jobs. And we do articulate some of the skill sets we're looking for. So when you submit an application, when you realize, yes, you do have what the FBI is looking for, yes, you need to apply and become part of this mission, it takes anywhere from 12 to 18 months from the time you actually apply to the time you're actually in Quantico receiving the training. And that is because there's multi-phases during the process, and that you're dealing with a need for a top secret government clearance, and to make sure that you have the appropriate background checks done and security. So we do take our time to make sure that we are hiring people that have the qualities and the experience and the background to further the mission and really do justice for what we're trying to accomplish as an agency. So it does take time. So don't apply and then quit your job. Just be available.
That's amazing. And my last question, because I know that we're running out of time, is addressing mental health within the organization on your personal note. Like, I know that there must be cases that are really tough. What do you do to keep sane?
To keep saying. So I know for me, I love to travel. So that kind of helps get away, even if it's a staycation where I take a ride to Tampa, for instance, and see family, etc. Also become a Peloton nut. So my family graced me with a Peloton for my birthday. So I've been cycling like crazy. So that has helped. Before that, I was running. So just various things to keep myself, as you call it, sane. I love to read. So that is a passion of mine. And whether it's an Audible book or, I have a book club of females, we get together and discuss books. So just anything that it takes to get your mind off of it. And, you never really walk away, but you definitely need to take that time for yourself to regroup, readjust, and get back at it.
And recharge.
Recharge, exactly.
And I'm going to recommend a book for your book club.
Oh,
The Rose Code.
The Rose Code, okay.
And you're going to like it because it has all the background. It's based on a true story.
Okay, I will check it out.
And you?
Mental health. Well, yes, I think it's important. I think it's one of the things that we as moms and law enforcement put on the back burner because we're taking care of everybody else.
Correct.
And I find that I needed to compartmentalize a lot when I worked crimes against children, and I was dealing with recovering actual children and going through their trauma and looking at the videos and images. And there is that secondary trauma and that very stressful feeling of not wanting to leave the office at night because I haven't finished everything and I need to get it done faster and faster. So I learned to compartmentalize and kind of tell myself I have to walk away at a normal time, and I'm going to surround myself with my support network. So I find exercising lets a lot of energy and stress out. I find being very involved with my children. I have 3 children right now. They're all in college. That's a whole nother issue. But being very involved in their lives and being supportive of them. And my husband, who's also an FBI agent, is a great friend and sounding board. And I'm able to kind of find my support system that way. But I think it's really important in any career, but especially in what we do, to make sure you have outlets, because we tend to not worry about our own mental health. We're worried about everybody else's. So maybe a little bit of that mixed in with a lot of caffeine for me.
Mm-hmm. God rest his soul. My dad would always say self-preservation is the first law of nature. And it's very true. And you do have to take care of yourself in order to be good for anyone else.
Like the airplanes, when the masks go down, that they say, put your mask first and then take care of the others.
Yes.
So that's what you do. But it's important that now you tell me that your husband is an FBI agent because he understands what you're going through. Is it the same case for you?
He definitely understands. At first he didn't. He was like, man, I mean, do y'all ever stop? And I had to get him adjusted to, this is no 9 to 5 for sure. And he knew me when I was a lawyer, so he kind of understood, because as you can imagine, law work is almost equivalent, except now I'm out at late hours of the night as opposed to, the 9 to 5. So he was always like, okay, going where now? But he's since adjusted, and yeah.
It's all about the support system.
Yes.
So ladies, thank you so much. What's the page if anybody wants to pursue a career in the FBI?
Yes, FBI jobs, all one word, .gov. FBIjobs.gov is where all of our hiring, information about the positions. You can find a recruiter. There's a tab for find a recruiter, and you can email me for Miami or any recruiter in any state if you are located somewhere else, and get any of your questions answered. But we are looking for diverse people with different skill sets because we want to do the best job that we can do for the people, and we need people with different skill sets. So you might not be thinking this is your career, this is your time, but give it a look because it's there and it's ready for you.
Ladies, thank you so much for an amazing conversation, and above all, stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Have a wonderful week until next week.
You too.